There is some sad news for Fantastic Beasts fans. Warner Brothers likely wants you to forget about the franchise, but it may be for the best. Also, the movie repeating Harry Potter's best storyline might have been its biggest mistake. So you must have many questions, but don't you worry, because we've got all the answers. Stick around to find out. First up, does WB want you to forget Fantastic Beasts even exists? The world of wizardry was given a second life on the big screen with the Fantastic Beasts films, but they haven't been as popular as the Harry Potter series, and now it appears like Warner Brothers wants people to forget about Fantastic Beasts. J.K. Rowling introduced readers to the fantasy wizard world in 1997 with Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Now, because of the success of the Harry Potter book series, it got adapted for film, and they published the Harry Potter film series between 2001 and 2011. As the franchise grew, the wizarding world expanded with computer games, additional works, a stage play, and even a theme park, before eventually returning to the big screen with the Fantastic Beasts films. The Fantastic Beasts movies take place many years before the events of the Harry Potter films and follow Newt Scamander, a young Albus Dumbledore, and Gellert Grindelwald. Unfortunately, Fantastic Beasts was a flop, and it looks like Warner is now neglecting these films. Moving on, why does WB want to move on from Fantastic Beasts? At Warner Brothers meeting, CEO David Zaslav showed interest in doing something with JK involving Harry Potter in the future, but he also mentioned that they haven't done a Harry Potter movie in 15 years, effectively ignoring the 3 Fantastic Beasts films that have already been released. Now, even though Fantastic Beasts explored a major part of the world of wizards, it didn't have the same popularity and influence as the Harry Potter series. All 3 Fantastic Beasts films are at the bottom of the box office ranking, with The Secrets of Dumbledore being the lowest grossing. The trilogy failed for several reasons, which also explains why Warner Brothers wants to move from it. Fantastic Beasts has introduced multiple changes to the Harry Potter chronology, many of which have resulted in plot holes, and the film's focus has changed from Newt and the, well, Fantastic Beasts to the struggle between Dumbledore and Grindelwald. Fans were quick to point out this change in direction, and why shouldn't they? It made the story come off as really inconsistent, and a large portion of the audience lost interest. Seeing the decline in the series' popularity, it's no surprise the studio is deciding to discontinue it. Following up, could Fantastic Beasts 4 still happen? Rowling revealed in 2016 that Fantastic Beasts would be a 5-film saga. It was set to cover events from wizarding world history between 1926 and 1945, but following the failures of The Crimes of Grindelwald and The Secrets of Dumbledore, the franchise's future has become really uncertain. The 4th film hadn't been announced, and its future depended on the success of The Secrets of Dumbledore, and given that the movie bombed, there's no chance it'll get greenlit now. But hold on, this may not have been the only deciding factor. Zaslav also stated that nothing in the world of wizards is currently in the works, meaning that Fantastic Beasts 4 is not in production. Now we know this makes some of you really sad, but honestly, this might be for the best, not only for the Fantastic Beasts series, but also for the Harry Potter series and the wizarding world. Next, why Fantastic Beasts repeating Harry Potter's best storyline is its biggest mistake. The Fantastic Beasts franchise tried to duplicate one of the most important storylines covered in the Harry Potter books. This is a huge mistake. The battle between Harry and Voldemort is the most prominent plotline in the original films. We see Harry struggle to go up against an obviously stronger opponent, and that's what really drives the narrative throughout the series. While this storyline worked for Harry Potter, duplicating it is an obvious mistake for Fantastic Beasts. Fans were skeptical when the films decided to follow in the footsteps of the original series by focusing on Dumbledore's battle against a dark wizard. In this case, instead of Voldemort, it's Gellert Grindelwald, and as expected, they failed to recreate the magic the OG films had. Fantastic Beasts basically repeats the same theme, but without the significance that it had in the Harry Potter series. We're not saying Albus's efforts against the dark forces couldn't have been expanded on in the series, but the Fantastic Beasts films failed to stand independently and feel like a cheap replica of the original sometimes. But you know what they say, lightning doesn't strike in the same place twice. Not to mention, Dumbledore's backstory didn't need to be in Fantastic Beasts. Harry Potter films have provided the audience with enough information about Albus Dumbledore's past. The viewers learn more about Dumbledore's history and background in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, particularly particularly his relationship with Grindelwald and the death of his sister, Ariana. The portrayal of Dumbledore in Fantastic Beasts doesn't add much to this backstory, implying that it didn't need to become an expanding focal point for a franchise that started with a completely different idea. As we mentioned before, Fantastic Beasts began as a story about Newt Scamander and his Fantastic Beasts, but it quickly developed into a story about Dumbledore's conflict and relationship with Grindelwald in the years leading up to the First Wizarding War. This created a diverted central storyline that complicates the series and proves that the headmaster's backstory doesn't need to be shown this closely. Now, Fantastic Beasts could have kept Dumbledore, but not his origins. The presence of Dumbledore in Fantastic Beasts is not a problem. The headmaster had every reason to appear in this prequel film series because he was alive at the time. Also, he would have naturally interacted with Newt, one of his former students, but Dumbledore's role in the Fantastic Beasts narrative could have been more successful if they had done one thing. They should have left the wizard as the complicated figure introduced in the Harry Potter films rather than digging deeper into his background, resulting in some narrative holes. Also, rather than making Dumbledore and his past the primary focus of the storyline, it could have been more interesting to see the part that Dumbledore played in Newt's life as he helped the protagonist. Coming up, the Harry Potter franchise must move on. In an interview, Eddie Redmayne revealed that he knows nothing about Fantastic Beasts 4. This echoes the common belief that the franchise has no future. Redmayne said that he enjoys portraying Newt, but the fate of Fantastic Beasts rests with J.K. Rowling, David Yates, and Warner. Given that, with all the controversy surrounding the Fantastic Beasts franchise, we think it might be best to move on and explore other aspects of the Wizarding world on the big screen. Moving on, there are even more things that put the movie's fate in doubt. Unfortunately, given Redmayne's statement that he hasn't heard anything about Fantastic Beasts 4, it's highly doubtful that it will happen. Aside from the underwhelming box office results, the Fantastic Beasts franchise has been plagued by controversy. Throughout the franchise's production, Ezra Miller, who plays Credence, has gotten arrested many times. Johnny Depp got replaced as Grindelwald by Mads Mikkelsen, and Rowling herself has been the subject of continual controversy owing to comments she made about the trans community. Yates is also now directing Pain Hustlers for Netflix, which means he's unavailable for Fantastic Beasts 4. Even though the franchise was planned as a 5-part series, all the complications surrounding Fantastic Beasts makes a Part 4 extremely unlikely, but the studio has made no official decision, so there is still a slight possibility that they could produce Fantastic Beasts 4. Finally, Harry Potter should have a big future beyond Fantastic Beasts. The conclusion of Fantastic Beasts does not suggest that the Wizarding world has no future on screen. There are other routes the studio can take for more Harry Potter spin-offs, including an HBO TV series. One popular fan suggestion is a TV show based on the four Marauders and their time at Hogwarts. Popular characters in the franchise include James Potter, Sirius Black, Remus Lupin, and Peter Pettigrew, who have only appeared together in flashbacks. There is a lot of complexity to their story, especially James Potter's transformation from a bully, and HBO could present a highly in-depth version of their story by making a TV show. Also, a film adaptation of the First War Against Voldemort is a popular idea, especially given the tragic inevitability of some characters' fates. The Order of the Phoenix's work is crucial in the Harry Potter book. Thus, a spin-off of their first conflict would add a lot more depth to the original films. Harry Potter and the World of Wizards continue to be hugely profitable. Given the success of the stage performance, even a film adaptation of The Cursed Child would be an enormous success for the series. Fantastic Beasts was not a commercial success, but it doesn't mean the on-screen Wizarding world can't have a wonderful future. That's a wrap for this video. What are your thoughts on Fantastic Beasts? Let us know in the comments below. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.